Los Angeles County. A young man stands outside a family courtroom, palms pressed to cool glass. Behind that door, a judge will decide something that sounds impossible. Whether a victim must pay his abuser every month for a child conceived when he was just 15. His teacher went to jail. She gave birth while incarcerated. The state still sent him a bill. The teen forced to pay child support to his teacher. Years earlier, he was a quiet sophomore. We'll call him Nathan to protect his privacy. He loved drawing sports cars in the margins of his homework. The classroom windows faced the parking lot, where the sun made everything too bright to see clearly. The teacher was charismatic, 30-something, the kind who remembered birthdays and lent novels from her desk. It started with praise, then special attention, then messages after school. She said I was mature, that it was different with me. She said she loved me. What began as tutoring became grooming. Boundaries dissolved in the space between a desk lamp and a closed door. His mother found a message. The police found evidence. The state brought charges. The word victim landed on Nathan's shoulders like a coat 2 sizes too big. When we searched her car, we found letters, photos, and a pregnancy test. She was convicted of statutory rape. The law was unambiguous. A child cannot consent. She served time. Inside those walls, she gave birth. Years passed. Nathan turned 18. He was saving for community college, 2 part-time jobs, late buses, cheap coffee. Then a letter arrived from the California Department of Child Support Services. You are hereby ordered to provide financial support for your minor child. It wasn't a prank. It wasn't a clerical error. The state had opened a case after the child's guardian applied for benefits. DNA named Nathan the father, and in California, support follows biology, not behavior. The statute protects the child's right to support, irrespective of the circumstances of conception. The court enforces obligation, not morality. He was still a teenager. The system had a box for him, non-paying parent, and no field to mark victim. Nathan rode the 212 to a night shift. He turned the letter over and over until the paper went soft. He wasn't thinking about case law. He was thinking about ink on a page that called him father, and a number at the bottom that would come due every month. Why do I have to pay for what she did to me? He wasn't rejecting the child. He was rejecting the punishment. There's a difference. When the state chooses a spreadsheet over a survivor, it teaches victims a terrible lesson. You can be hurt twice, once by a person, then by the process. The courtroom is colder than the hallway. Nathan sits at a thin table, shoulders tense, eyes on the wood grain so he doesn't have to see the door where she could appear. His attorney adjusts a stack of papers. A paperclip snaps. Counsel, I have reviewed the petition. The issue before the court is child support pursuant to state guidelines. Your Honor, my client was a minor victim of a criminal offense committed by the opposing party. We contend that imposing support violates principles of equity and due process. The statute does not grant me discretion based on the circumstances of conception. The guideline calculation is mandatory. The law couldn't see the room the way everyone else did. A boy in a chair he shouldn't be sitting in, punished for surviving. I didn't even have a job yet. He would soon enough. And when he did, garnishment would follow, a monthly reminder in a line item. Tonight, a California teen, once the victim in a teacher-student rape case, ordered to pay child support to his former teacher. Officials say their hands are tied. The law protects the child's right to support. Outrage trended. Comment sections filled with fury, but when the cameras cut away, Nathan still had to clock in. He still had to choose between a textbook and a tire patch. Injustice isn't always loud. Sometimes it arrives monthly, in an amount set by a table printed from a government website. They appealed. The brief was neat, persuasive. It argued that forcing a victim to pay his abuser violates due process and public policy. State law admits of no exception here. The obligation to support attaches upon determination of paternity. The appeal failed. On paper, the outcome was logical. In a life, it was devastating. I don't hate my child. He didn't choose this. I just wish someone had protected me the way they say they protect kids. Justice without compassion becomes arithmetic. We can do better. He worked, paid, grew up, graduated. The payments ended long after the headlines did, but the story stayed. He speaks sometimes at victim advocacy events, not with anger, but with a steady kind of clarity. He says dignity is a right, not a perk, and that the law should know the difference between accountability and cruelty. Reform is possible. Hardship waivers, judicial discretion, clearer statutory carve-outs for victims of statutory rape. The goal is simple: protect children without punishing children. Systems break in predictable places. The fix often starts with one voice in a quiet room. This story does not end with a perfect ruling. It ends with a person who survived, paid, and still chose to hope. A young man who learned that sometimes the most radical thing you can do is refuse to become bitter. He was a child when the state called him father. He became a man when he refused to become the thing that hurt him. This has been a K7 Media presentation. Subscribe for more.